Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're decoding a really fascinating business case study about survival, adaptation, and legacy. We're looking at how a classic Indian electronics brand is positioning itself to not just survive, but literally thrive against massive multinational giants in a hyper-growth market. We're talking, of course, about Onida air conditioners.
We absolutely have to start here. If you followed the Indian consumer market over the last few decades, you know this quote is a massive nostalgia hook. Neighbors envy, owners pride. It's iconic, right? It cemented Onida's legendary past, and honestly, it still drives their brand recall today. But as you know, resting on legacy isn't going to cut it when you're selling modern appliances. So let's dive into the structured analysis. We're going to break down this company's strategy piece by piece. Here is our agenda. 1. A legacy of cooling. 2. Targeting the Indian consumer. 3. The marketing mix playbook. 4. SWOT and the competition. 5. Digital revival and challenges. And finally, 6. Winning the future.
Okay, starting with Section 1, a legacy of cooling, from televisions to ACs. Let's see how this builds from their early days as a true electronics powerhouse. So, Onida, owned by MIRC Electronics Limited, wasn't originally known for cooling. Founded back in 1981, they built a rock-solid reputation in televisions. They were literally a staple in Indian living rooms. It wasn't until 2005 that they decided to bring that trusted, value-conscious legacy over to the air conditioner market. They basically capitalized on decades of household brand recognition to launch their split and inverter ACs. Moving right along to Section 2, targeting the Indian consumer using an STP analysis. Let's figure out exactly who they are trying to reach with these appliances today. Onida is super specific about their target market. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone, which is smart. They focus heavily on middle and upper middle income households across urban and semi-urban areas, and specifically, they've zeroed in on first-time AC buyers and budget-conscious families. What's absolutely vital here is that these consumers are actively seeking an Indian brand. They want something homegrown, reliable, and energy efficient. Which brings us to their positioning statement: affordable premium cooling with advanced technology designed for Indian conditions. What does that actually mean? Well, they aren't just selling cold air. They're selling a very specific value proposition. They want to be the brand that gives you high-end, smart technology, but tailor-made to survive India's uniquely challenging climate, all without breaking the bank.
All right, Section 3, the marketing mix playbook, also known as the 4 Ps. Let's unpack this and see how that positioning translates to the actual shelves.
Product, this number right here tells the whole story. 55 degrees Celsius. Onida engineers heavy-duty inverter and fixed-speed ACs specifically designed to withstand extreme Indian summers up to a blistering 55 degrees. To put that into perspective, that is incredibly hot. They pack these units with convertible cooling tech, Wi-Fi smart features, and crucial elements for India like copper condenser coils and anti-corrosion protection. It's a product built specifically for a very harsh environment. For price, they target the sweet spot right between 28,000 and 55,000 rupees. This competitive pricing strategy is entirely deliberate. Their goal is to deliver those premium smart features we just talked about, but firmly at mid-range prices. This allows them to fiercely compete with both domestic and international brands. Think Voltas, Lloyd, Haier, Panasonic, by appealing directly to that value-conscious buyer. Looking at place, their distribution strategy ensures massive accessibility. They cover all the traditional bases with large multi-brand retail chains, but they strategically push down into regional dealers in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. That's where those first-time buyers are rapidly emerging. And alongside that brick-and-mortar foundation, they're maintaining a growing e-commerce presence and their own official online store.
And for promotion, Onida uses a pretty clever blend. They utilize traditional television, newspaper ads, outdoor media, and digital campaigns. But look closely at their sales promotions: festive discounts, exchange offers, EMI schemes, and cashbacks. For a budget-conscious middle-income target market, these financial incentives are honestly just as important as the advertising itself. It significantly lowers the barrier to entry for that crucial first-time buyer.
Okay, on to Section 4, SWOT and the competition, visualizing the battlefield. Remember, Onida is acting as a homegrown challenger, a real David against multiple multinational Goliaths. So let's look at the competitive space they're operating in. This breakdown brilliantly illustrates what Onida is up against. You've got giants like LG and Daikin commanding high pricing based on premium tech and energy efficiency. Then you have Voltas dominating the medium-priced Indian premium space with a massive dealer network. Onida has to carve out its niche right in the middle.
leveraging its medium pricing and deep brand heritage to fight off value brands like Lloyd while simultaneously offering the high-tech features of the more expensive giants. To survive this, we have to look honestly at their SWOT breakdown. The strengths are clear, right? That trusted legacy since 1981, aggressive pricing, and climate-specific design. But those are weighed heavily against some critical weaknesses. They currently hold a smaller market share than those leading global competitors. They've had lower advertising visibility in recent years, and crucially for appliances, their service network is perceived as less extensive in some regions.
Yet, the market dynamics offer massive opportunities. India's AC market is experiencing rapid growth, driven by rising temperatures and the expansion into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Smart home adoption is also surging. But, and it's a big but, they have to capture this growth while navigating the very real threats of intense price wars from those well-funded multinational competitors, not to mention rising input costs and rapid technological shifts. That brings us to Section 5, Digital Revival and Challenges, the David versus Goliath fight. To overcome these weaknesses against better-funded competitors, Onida is mounting an aggressive digital push. Let's see how they're fighting back. They are rapidly adopting a digital-first approach. To increase that visibility we noted was lacking, they're leaning heavily into social media engagement and influencer collaborations. They're using SEO, e-commerce festival promotions, and highly effective product demo videos to visually highlight their smart connectivity and cooling performance. It's a very modern playbook to reach a very modern consumer. Now, what's really interesting is how they sum up their modern brand strategy with this hashtag, India Ka Onida, meaning India's Onida. They are directly tapping into their core strength. They're reminding buyers of their homegrown Indian roots, their innovation, and their reliability. It's this great mix of patriotic and nostalgic appeal neatly wrapped in a modern digital hashtag. Yet, the execution challenges are steep. They're constantly battling the massive marketing budgets of global brands. More pressingly, they have to attract younger consumers who simply might not remember the Onida legacy from the 1980s and 90s. This has prompted a broader brand revival strategy. Recent reports show they are renewing their marketing investments and even bringing back their absolutely iconic 90s devil mascot to bridge that generational gap and reconnect with the public consciousness, all while working to visibly strengthen their after-sales service perception.
Finally, Section 6, Winning the Future, Recommendations. Having analyzed their entire strategy, how does a legacy brand take all this data, successfully adapt, and actually win the future?
Based on the analysis, the actionable takeaways for Onida are pretty clear. First, they must aggressively increase digital-first ads targeting younger buyers to build fresh brand equity. Second, to win those emerging markets, they need to expand regional language influencer campaigns. Third, they absolutely must communicate the quality of their after-sales service more prominently to ease any buyer anxiety. And finally, they have to continue highlighting their energy efficiency and smart home compatibility while carefully modernizing the nostalgic appeal of their neighbor's envy legacy. We've seen their entire playbook today, from their resilient product design engineered for 55-degree heat to their targeted mid-range pricing, right up to the return of their famous devil mascot. But seeing this whole strategy laid out leaves us with a final provocative thought. As the air conditioning market explodes across India, can this unique blend of affordable, smart innovation and 1980s brand heritage truly reclaim the market from today's massive global giants? It's going to be a fascinating battle to watch. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the strategies behind the brands you buy.